Today was meant to be the last chance for Vodafone to say if it'll bid for cable and wireless worldwide. They now have until mid-April to talk. Cable and Wireless is the UK telecom service provider that's lost almost two-thirds of its value in 2 years. So what's the attraction other than cheaper price? Well, for Vodafone, it's this. C&W's core fibre network, the largest in the country, the world's biggest mobile operator, wants to shift surging data traffic from smartphones onto fixed lines. That's so it can reduce the burden on its wireless network. And the UK is the only major EU market where Vodafone doesn't have a fixed line system. Vodafone may reap £1 billion tax windfall if it gets control of cable and wireless. It could let Vodafone get out of paying local corporation tax until later on in the decade. But it's come up against some competition because Tata Communications is lining up financing for a possible cash bid for cable and wireless as well. I want to get more on this now because I'm joined by Dario Talmesio, principal analyst at Informa Telecoms and Media. Lovely to have you on the program. So you were expecting this to happen?
Yeah, I think yesterday it did become quite clear that an extension was going to be granted. Simply Tata didn't have enough time to look into details as much as Vodafone did have. And an extension was asked and I think quite rightfully granted to both.
So then looking at the two bids, which company needs cable and wireless more, Vodafone or Tata Communications?
Good question. I think Vodafone needs cable and wireless more than Tata does, and for Tata, as a second comer into the bidding process, is more of a defensive option, having seen Vodafone bidding for cable and wireless communication.
So then tell me more about what Vodafone doesn't have in terms of assets, providing total communication solutions. How would cable and wireless fix this problem for Vodafone?
Right, Vodafone, as you rightly said, it doesn't have all the assets they need, especially in the UK, in order to provide total communication solution. Now, the total communication solution is one of the main strategies for Vodafone. Let's not forget that in Europe, for instance, Vodafone still generates, as a group, 70% of their revenues in the European markets. Of those, 30% are coming from enterprise. Now, enterprise services are not just mobile. Enterprise services are a lot more than that. We are talking about fixed line communication, we are talking about IP, we are talking about hosting, for instance, and enterprise applications. Now, some of these assets are outside the Vodafone portfolio, and some of these assets...
Such as the core fibre network.
Such as the core fibre network, but not only. Obviously, we know that one of the areas for growth for cable and wireless over the past couple of years, and there aren't many, was, for instance, the market of hosting services and enterprise applications. This is a market where Vodafone can't actually operate on its own. They need to partner. So acquiring the capabilities of cable and wireless in that will help them in European markets, specifically in the UK. Obviously, this is an area where incumbent operators are currently working, so people like the BT. So it's in a way Vodafone getting more competitive against...
Would they be able to compete against BT? Would this give them a significant advantage?
It will give them an advantage or some assets that they didn't have before. So definitely competition will heat up for BT as well in that regard.
And of course for Tata, that's the same sort of thing. They want to expand their footprint, essentially expand into new markets.
Yes, of course. For Tata, for the group, is expanding in the UK as much as they have done. But for Tata Communication, a strong player in the enterprise market is that means strengthening their presence outside the Asian markets, specifically in the UK. So both companies are very interested in the deal.
Is this the sort of thing that we're going to see increasingly in the year ahead? More movement in the telecoms industry in Europe as a whole, more consolidation, collaboration and acquisitions?
Of course we do. Let's start from this point. For instance, like Informa Telecoms and Media is forecasting that over the next 5 years, some or the majority of European markets will have a very flat top line, meaning that
growth will be stagnant.
Growth will be stagnant or declining in many European markets. And one of the responsible for this will be the decline of consumer-related revenues. So having a strong presence in the enterprise market will help them. But not only. You mentioned consolidation, you mentioned partnership. That is also a way for keeping the cost line down for European carriers. we know that in a situation where the top line is stagnant, the attention will be focusing more on the cost side of the business. And acquiring, getting together, partnering are some of the ways that operators will be looking into more and more in the coming months.
Definitely fascinating to see how, on this particular deal, how Vodafone may evolve as a result of a potential acquisition of Cable and Wireless Worldwide. Good to talk to you. Dario Talmesio, Principal Analyst at Informa Telecoms and Media. Thank you.
Good to talk to you.